Do you even need to go to college these days? My answer might surprise you. Today, I'm going to argue whether I think a college education is worth it. And quick disclaimer, this is not professional advice. With so many variables to consider, it's important to think about your own situation before making any big decisions like this one. Now, before we get started, I have a question for you. Who do you think makes more money on average? College/university graduates or dropouts who start working right after high school? Let me know what you think in the comments below and stick around to the end of the video to find out the answer. The first question that I would ask myself if I was trying to determine whether or not going to college or university is worth it is, can you be successful without a degree? In short, yes. Many successful individuals have achieved their goals and built very successful careers without obtaining a college or a university degree. Apprenticeships, vocational training programs, on-the-job training, or self-study are just a few ways to pursue a fulfilling and lucrative career. And you've probably heard about college dropouts who have gone on to become millionaires and billionaires. Alright, so story time. This is JC Trageser, 27, and dropped out of college in 2014. So according to Business Insider, she started out making only about $300, $500 a week as a waitress in Boston. She now makes over 6 figures as a marketing manager at a SaaS company. Talk about a transformation. She claims that college was just a bill she never wanted to get, and I hear that. The reality is, college, university, whatever you call it in your part of the world, can be really expensive, especially in the US. Not everyone can afford it. Beyond that, it might not be the right fit for every single person. So if any of this is clicking for you, here are the 4 keys to succeeding without a degree, according to JC. Number 1, the key ingredient for success in almost any field: work ethic. JC worked hard for 4 years as a waitress before getting her big break for a marketing internship. So number 2 is the pursuit of knowledge. Even though she didn't get a formal degree per se, she still invested in her education by taking 2 online marketing courses through Yale and Cornell. This really helped to master and hone her craft. Number 3, definitely not an easy one, but necessary all the same. Sometimes it's about knowing when to move on. So despite not wanting to leave her startup job entirely, she knew that the best thing for her, professionally and personally, was to move on to another job. Number 4 is goal setting. This is absolutely critical. What she does is at the end of every single year, she'll create a list of different goals, and that list will help to guide her decisions going into the new year. As the new year progresses, she'll reassess, readjust, and make small tweaks here and there to make sure that she's getting closer to those goals. I suppose these are all things we should probably be doing anyway, whether we get a degree or not, so definitely some sound advice. Now, you might be wondering, what if I don't want to be a marketing manager for a SaaS company? Can I still be successful without a degree? Not to worry. There are plenty of opportunities if you put in the work, persist in the face of obstacles, and if you're open to taking a few risks that might just pay off. So if you're looking to optimize and maximize your opportunities and income potential, here are just a couple of examples. So we've got digital marketing, cybersecurity analyst, or really any number of positions available in the tech field. Institutions like BrainStation, HubSpot, and even universities like the University of Toronto offer free and paid certifications to start. These usually take a lot less time compared to your average 4-year degree. But maybe you don't like tech, and you really can't be bothered to learn about coding and programming or any of that. A couple of different options for you might be real estate agent or a business owner. As a real estate agent, it's really about getting your real estate license, which takes about 4 to 8 months, at least here where I live. This is a fraction of the time compared to, again, a 4-year degree. As a business owner, really, the sky is the limit. If you have a passion that you can then turn into a living, have at it. Some good old elbow grease, a get-it-done attitude, and willingness to always keep learning is a good starting point and could very well get you headed in the 6-figure club or more. So yes, having a degree is not the only path to success. After all, there are plenty of ways out there to have meaningful, lucrative careers. But yes, there is a but here. I have a caveat for you. If your primary motivation for dropping out is because Mark Zuckerberg dropped out and he became a tech billionaire, I urge you to read up on something called survivorship bias. Or if you're thinking that instead of spending 4 more years in classrooms or paying a hefty bill for a piece of paper, that you would rather just get to it, start making some money, and become a millionaire by 18 without any real work or skills, you may be in for a rude awakening. Another question that some of you might be wondering about is, school is all about tests, assignments, maybe things that you'll never use in the real world. So does school really help prepare you for life? Let's talk about this. School failed me in a lot of ways. School didn't teach me much about money, and I don't think I've ever used the concept of SPDF orbitals outside of first year organic chemistry. And despite that, if I could go back in time and do it all over again, I would still make the same decision and go to university. Here's why. Okay, so to start, I think that university gives you the chance to make mistakes in a safe environment. I'll be the first to acknowledge, first of all, that college, university, it's a stressful environment and definitely higher stakes compared to high school. The pressure is on, especially at the more competitive schools. But that being said, I'll take worrying about grades and exams over being unprepared at a job where I end up messing up a building or giving bad advice that could mess up someone's health or finances any day. School, in my opinion, is pretty low stakes compared to a lot of jobs, like being a neurosurgeon, a criminal lawyer, or stockbroker. So to me, that makes a lot of sense why you have to build up to that point where you can actually do those things. In school, while you're grinding away and skipping brunch with the girls for a lab prep with your subjects, what that's doing is helping to develop your knowledge and your confidence. The worst possible outcome if you're unprepared at school is maybe a bad mark. Is that a desirable outcome? As a 4.0 student, I'd say not. But are there worse consequences? Absolutely. Plus, if you mess up on a test or an essay, there's always a chance to learn from your mistakes and do better next time. Number 2, college or university give you a great chance to expose yourself to different subjects and people. The great thing about having lectures with pretty much the same people every single week is that it's much easier to naturally bond and develop relationships with them. Presumably, you're into similar topics, assuming that you're both in a similar field since you're taking the same class. Or at least bond over your shared hatred of whatever topic your statistics professor is quizzing you on next week. I kid you not, this actually happened to me in a statistics class. I became really good friends with somebody in my tutorial simply because we were both very stressed out about how difficult the quizzes and tests were relative to the lectures. Looking back, I think I could have stepped out of my comfort zone just a little bit more and gotten to know more people. It might have made my experience that much more enjoyable. There are so many different topics that I've learned about in the past that I'll probably never need to know again in the future, and yet I don't regret learning those things. Okay, confession time. As a kid, I was obsessed with Harry Potter. I had the Gryffindor scarf, I read all the books multiple times, went to Harry Potter World, the whole 9 yards. Sadly, I'll probably never go to Hogwarts, and there's no reason for me to know how to properly pronounce Wingardium Leviosa. But that doesn't mean that it was a waste of time. I had a lot of fun and made some great memories. And I think school can be like that too. There are skills and habits that we learn by going through our academic journeys. And while we may never need to use integrals or functions ever again after grade 12 calculus, there's something to be said about the lessons we learn as we persevere through tough concepts or pick ourselves up after setbacks. Of course, I do think there's room for schools to grow. I talk about this all the time. Where schools can do better is, for example, some way to incorporate more about personal finance, to teach students about money, or maybe job skills like interviewing, salary negotiation, or maybe even entrepreneurship. So in many ways, school doesn't really prepare us for life, but in other ways, it does. And just like anything else in life, you get out what you put in. And who knows what improvements we'll see in the future. So, by the way, maybe you're thinking to yourself, college, no college, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want to be super rich. So that begs the question, is university or college really a good investment? What are you really paying for when it comes to a college or university education? To figure that out, let's look at the numbers. So here are some important statistics about millionaires in the US and college graduates. Okay, so check this out. Researchers surveyed a bunch of millionaires in the US, and here's what they found. 88% of the millionaires surveyed were college graduates. To put this into perspective, only 33% of the overall adult US population graduated from college. And Forbes found that 84% of the richest 400 Americans hold a bachelor's degree or higher. So while getting a degree can't guarantee you millionaire status in the same way that being tall can't guarantee that you'll be the next Kevin Durant, there does seem to be some sort of correlation there. Of course, correlation does not equal causation. If you're wondering what you're actually paying for when you go to college, I say take a look around. First, there's the obvious, the brand, if you will. That's if you go to a well-known school. In fact, some major companies team up with specific schools with solid reputations so that they can recruit the best. Then there are the buildings, the books, the world-class professors, the clubs, the resources. You get the drill. So finally, that brings us to, should you go to college or university? If you ask me, probably yes. Let's qualify that. Okay. Now, before you all get out your pitchforks, I should reiterate that there are a lot of nuances, and it's important to take your own situation into consideration when it comes to a decision like this. But here's how I like to think about college or university. Does everyone remember getting those Lego sets as a kid? Okay, so imagine getting a Lego set with a preset design. You know, the ones where they show you the picture of what it's supposed to look like on the box. Maybe it's a bridge or Hogwarts. That's college. Every brick is a lesson or a class, building one on top of the other until you complete it. There are instructions, so there's a structure, steps, and that can make it feel rigid, but there's something to follow, so you aren't just trying to figure things out and fending for yourself. And once it's complete, you already sort of know what you're supposed to aim for. You know what you're supposed to get, whether that's a bridge or a castle. Sort of like your diploma. Now, not going to college is a bit like getting a bunch of Lego bricks with no preset design. You can build whatever you like. If you want to stop and build something totally new, have at it. No big deal. No one's stopping you. But there are no instructions, and that can have its own challenges. If you want to become a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, for example, there's no way around it. College, university, it's a must. And if you're looking for a path that allows you to gain knowledge, expand your critical thinking, and pick up some great skills while in an environment of peers, university can be just the place for that. And you get a degree to show off that you've got what it takes to commit to something. Also, keep in mind that not getting your degree can actually be the harder path. But at the end of the day, success is a product of hard work, dedication, and the willingness to learn and adapt. Whether or not you have a degree, you can achieve success by setting clear goals, developing a strong work ethic, and consistently striving to improve and grow as a person. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. It'll help me ace the algorithm. Happy holidays.